What's up, guys? Today we are filming outside, so you're gonna be hearing a lot of wind, some planes flying by. But what we have here is a Sacred Beast deck that I've had for a while now. This is one of my favorite archetypes. It's just a really fun archetype to play. It's not exactly a super competitive deck. You're not going to be winning a lot of tournaments with this, but of course, winning's not everything, you guys. Being a meta sheep is not always fun. Anyway, let's get into the deck. This is the Sacred Beast deck. If you're looking for these cards, it might be a good idea to get the Sacred Beast structure deck, which has most of the cards that are in here. There are also additional cards, especially in the extra deck, that are available. Also, just a little bit of a disclaimer, this is not going to be the best version of this deck. There are obviously a lot of cards that you can add to this deck to improve it. I don't have those cards here with me, just because I don't intend on just playing the cards that everybody's playing, like Access Code, like Zeus. Stuff like that I've excluded from this deck, but if you are into making this deck as powerful as possible, you should definitely get those cards. Let's jump in. So the boss monsters of this deck are going to be these three monsters right here. First of all, you have Raviel, Haman, and Uriah. We pack 2 copies of Raviel, Lord of Phantasms, and 1 copy of the Shimmering Scrapper. These are great monsters on their own to have on the field. They're pretty powerful. This summons a token every time your opponent normal summons. But the general idea of this deck is you are going to be summoning from the extra deck, which we'll get into in a little bit. Raviel is probably the best of the 3 to have on the field. Haman's pretty good too. You'll be packing 2 if you follow this deck profile. This guy knocks out back row. Oh man, the wind is so strong today. The wind just blew my extra deck out of here. Sorry about that, guys. This blows some back row. Can also gain attack by sending continuous spells from the GY. Oh, sorry, no. I forgot the effect of this. Whatever. If you knock out an opponent, you do 1,000 damage to life points. Great, fantastic card for Xyz plays, which I'll explain later on. Uriah is probably the one that you're not going to want to see the most on the field alone. It gains 1,000 attack for each continuous trap. For this version of the deck, I'm not going to be packing a lot of continuous traps. I don't know if there is a version of the deck that's focused on Uriah. You pack 3 copies of Dark Summoning Beast. This is a level 5, so it requires a tribute monster. So you're not going to want to see this alone in your hand. This, of course, is a very good card. Once you summon this, you get to search for 1 copy of Uriah, Raviel, or Haman, and summon it onto the field. And then attributing this card and summoning it onto the field. And then you can banish this from your GY to actually search for 1 more copy of each of those monsters. Right? It's just 1, right? Yeah, just 1. Yeah. Okay. So this essentially equals to 2 of these. Once you get it onto the field, you can search for 2. And as you'll see, you are going to want at least 3, either in your hand, in your GY, or on the field. And then you have Dark Beckoning Beast. This is going to search your, I don't know what to call it, one of your Sacred Beasts onto your hand. And then, of course, you get a additional summon, normal summon on top of this. So if you summon this onto the field, you can use it as tribute to summon this. You get 2 normal summons, and then you can basically get 1 Sacred Beast onto the field and 1 into your hand, which is really great. And then you have 3 copies of Chaos Summoning Beast. This is fantastic. This one literally is a 1 card free summon for any one of your Sacred Beasts. So you're going to be able to search these engines very quickly, and you're also going to be able to search the Sacred Beast fairly quickly as well. So having this card in your hand is fantastic. You essentially normal summon this, and then you can tribute it to summon one of the Sacred Beasts. And then you can banish this to search for one of the best spell cards in this deck, which is Fallen Paradise. It's a field spell, which we'll get into in a little bit. So that's pretty much going to be it for your main monsters. You have 1 copy of Effect Veiler and 2 copies of Ash. This is just for your hand traps, so that you're going to be able to play, essentially. A lot of decks these days have to be interrupted. Having a little bit of interruption is not bad. You're going to have 1 copy of Infinite Impermanence. I think for hand traps, it just depends on what your opponent's playing. You're going to want to have an extra deck that has a variety of different hand traps or counters to whatever deck you're playing against. And then you have 1 copy of Hyperblaze. I was actually considering not packing this. This requires you to have Uria on the field. You can special summon Uria by, what is it? Is it banish or destroy? Okay, you can use face down traps that you control as tribute to summon Uria. You need 3 of those. We don't have that many traps. And then once per turn, you can discard 1 card, add to your hand, or special summon 1 Uria, Haman, or Raviel. Actually, this is really good. Yeah. The summoning part of it is pretty good. And then you have Escape from the Dark Dimension. This just, there's a lot of cards here that are going to banish your monsters. Just having one of these to recycle one of your banished dark monsters is pretty good. None of your Sacred Beasts are, Raviel is a dark, but having these guys be recycled is pretty good too. You have 2 copies of Awakening of the Sacred Beasts. This is just, the effect of this card depends on how many copies of the Sacred Beasts you have on the field. Ideally you have 2, and essentially this turns into a skill drain. And also anytime your opponent special summons or normal summon, you gain health equal to the attack. That's going to be it for your traps. And then we move on to spells. You have 2 copies of Cerulean Skyfire. This is similar to Hyperblaze, where you can use face-down spells as tribute to summon your Haman. And then, what is this? Okay, then you can negate 1 spell or trap if you have, this is essentially a negate if you have Haman on the field. Just by changing your Haman into, does it say, just changing, from attack position to defense position. Sorry guys, I'm not that familiar with the spells. Yeah, okay. Then you have 1 copy of Called by the Grave. This is essentially good to, if you have, say, 1 copy of your Sacred Beasts in hand, 1 copy on the field, you can use Called by the Grave to get your 3rd one out in order to summon your Armatile. You have 1 for 1. This is fantastic because this special summons Chaos Summoning Beast just by discarding a monster. This card, as you know, is pretty great. You have 2 copies of 1 for 1. 2 copies of Pot of Desires. This is just for draw power. You have Opening of the Spirit Gates. When this card is activated, add 1 Sacred Beast or anything that mentions your Sacred Beast from your deck to your hand. So this searches your Fallen Paradise and any one of those Sacred Beasts. And then once per turn, you can discard 1 card and special summon 1 Fiend with 0 attack, which any of these will work, from your GY. And then once per turn, if you control any one of your level 10 monsters, you can add 1 continuous spell from your GY to your hand. You can use that only once per turn. So essentially you can search Fallen Paradise. You can also search any one of the Sacred Beasts. Fallen Paradise is going to be a card that you want on the field every game. This provides protection for your Sacred Beasts. And then also, if you control any of your Sacred Beasts, you can draw 2 every turn, which is incredible. You have two copies of Dimension Fusion Destruction. This is essentially the fusion card to special summon your, to fusion summon your Armatile, which is going to be the main strategy of most games, is to get Armatile out onto the field. You can banish from your hand, field, or GY, essentially any of the sacred beasts, one copy of each, to summon out your Armatile. And then if you control any one of the sacred beasts, your opponent cannot activate any cards in response to this. You have 2 copies of Terraforming. This is essentially just to search your Fallen Paradise, because you want to see that every game. That's going to be it for the main deck. 40 cards. As I said before, there are many versions of this deck that you can play. For example, you can put in Skill Drain, which is really good in this current format. Plenty of different hand traps. I would say just do you, man. Okay, a very important card that you're going to need for this extra deck is going to be Armatile, the Chaos Phantasm, Phantom of Fury. This card is going to be the card that you want to summon first. What essentially this is, it's a 0/0, 0 attack, 0 defense card. You summon it, and then on the end phase of the turn that you summoned it, you switch control to your opponent. So this goes into your opponent's field, and then you can banish all cards that your opponent controls. Does it say other than this card? Once per turn, you can give the control. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card was changed this turn, banish all cards you control. Yeah. So I guess this gets banished too? I don't quite understand actually. And then essentially this special summons this. So you would fusion summon this and then banish all of your opponent's cards and then special summon this onto the field. And this is essentially pretty much one turn kill during your turn. So this, sorry guys, I forgot the effect of this. I played this deck for a long time, but I haven't played it for a couple of years now. Special summon, okay. So on the next turn, you're gonna have Armatile, and you're gonna, on your turn, he gains 10,000 attack, which is pretty much OTK because you've banished all the cards that he had on the field. So the main strategy of this deck is gonna be wanting to do this combo. Essentially summon him, banish, end turn, then banish, and then summon this guy, and then on the next turn, OTK. And then of course you have the link plays. I'm not going to talk too much about this. I would say this is like an alternative play. Your main play is going to be your these guys, and also Xyz, I guess. You got Boral Sword, IP Masquerena, Nightmare Unicorn, Boral Load, Nightmare Cerberus, Nightmare Phoenix, Blink Karibo, and Teleman Great. Most of you guys know what that does. If not, just read up on that. A lot of decks use this card. Well, actually, it's pretty outdated. I would switch maybe Boral Sword for a Access Code, and then probably any one of these Boral Load, I'll switch for a Selene, and then probably maybe pack a Crystron Help. Well, I don't know if you can, yeah, I don't know. Or just having Zeus. Switching any of those out for Zeus would be fantastic. And then for your Xyz monsters, you have Sky Palace, oh my god, I don't even know how to pronounce that. And then you have Super Dreadnought, Super Dora, and then you have Lieb, and of course Gustav Max. These are just going to be cards that are chip away at your opponent's life, chunks of your opponent's life away. So they're all considered, in my opinion, just alternative plays. Your main play is going to be wanting these guys out as quickly as possible. So that's going to be pretty much it for my Sacred Beast deck. It is a really fun deck, highly recommended for anyone just starting. Fairly easy to play, not too expensive at all. Like there's not much in here that's expensive. I essentially bought 3 copies of the structure deck, and this is what I made with it. I think 2 copies might, no, you need 3. You need 3 for sure. Just because you need all 3 copies of the spells. But anyway, all the additional stuff is pretty much just hand traps and extra deck stuff. Very affordable, great deck, really highly recommended. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think of my deck and what you think I should add to the deck. I'll see you guys on the next one.